help address some of those concerns? And what are some programs to help the inmates in transition coming out and going into the community for job opportunities in that sense?
We want to partner with the community-based organizations, the non-faith and the faith-based organizations. We want to connect with the local government agencies as well, and to make sure that individuals are provided with resources inside of the facility, as well as provided resources and connected with resources once they are released from the facility. Because if we constantly do not provide anything to help people sustain themselves or better themselves, then we're only going to get what we've already gotten. We have to take that risk and want to make people better.
And that was one of the concerns, that I support the restoration of rights, but folks that's not incarcerated don't have jobs. So with those that are incarcerated looking for jobs once they get out, how does that match? Meaning we already don't have jobs available for those of us that not have been incarcerated. What thought has been put into place in reference to a transitional joint effort and federal grant monies that's available for them to be able to utilize? How do you see that plan in reference to that?
We want to connect with those agencies. The first thing is we have to do those things that are going to provide skills. We have to provide school tools and skills to the individuals so that they can, one, feel better about themselves. They can feel that they're able to sustain a job, that they can be a part of a productive work environment. It all starts with attitude and behavior, and we have to provide those things to individuals that give them some type of hope. And we have to connect with those business leaders and those organizations that are going to give people a chance. You know, as you say, it's individuals that have not been incarcerated that are having problems finding jobs, or can't get jobs, or can't hold jobs. But it's why those things are happening that we need to try to enforce or to reiterate to individuals that once those tools and resources are provided to them, then we connect them while they're there with someone else that can take them to the next path.
Because you hear it all the time from the inmates, I can't find a job, to the point where myself sometimes feel like they're not really looking for a job. So just like for technical school and whatnot, is what I'm hearing you're saying, that you're being able to set up some type of training in order to help them transition out into jobs within those who are not, for instance, those who are not are incarcerated because of the child support. How can they pay child support if they're incarcerated? So how do y'all think those things out in reference to the court system?
Well, the court system has their own plan, but what we would like to do is have a diversion type of program. That if they're incarcerated, we have to have people working. As you say, I can't pay a bill, I can't pay child support if I'm incarcerated. It's not like that's my first time. You know, I've not paid child support, and I've not paid child support. I've not tried to find a job to pay child support. That's a different person than an individual that's out there trying to work, trying to do the best they can, and trying to pay what they can. So we want to make sure that there's a system in place where that individual can work, can be with their family, and can pay their fines and fees to make sure that they can continue to be productive. Because once they're incarcerated, their whole attitude changes, their whole mindset. It's like they're worthless and they don't have, you know, they can't account for anything, and they can't take care of their kids. And the main thing is taking care of their kids. And most individuals want to take care of their kids. They may not want to be with that partner that they had the child with, but they want to take care of their kids. And we have to put programs in place and services in place that can help them to be connected to that they can actually work while they do the time that they have. In that means that either we have to do the bracelet system or a checks and balances system, have them report in to certain places, report in so that they can add their time and calculate their time so that they can make sure that they can still work and be productive. We want to make sure that the individual is able to take care of himself and take care of their family. It's hard to take care of your family and those outside entities when you're incarcerated, because that restricts you from being able to earn money or make some type of income. And you put individuals right back in the place of, well, you're not going to allow me to work, so I'm not going to work, I'm not going to care, you're not going to get the money, and they're not going to get the money. So it perpetuates a bad attitude, a poor attitude about being responsible for the situation that you're in.
because I think that the way that it's set up now with the new jail, which we all wanted, we had issues with the procurement process, but it wasn't that no one wanted the jail. But with that jail, you have the facility there that can be more atmospheric in reference to the guards themselves, air, and so forth. So I think that if you got that convenience, and then what you're looking to do with having some type of transitional opportunity for them, it seemed like that could work real good, because we hear about that, but also about the mentally, those that are mental. That was another issue that was brought out, being incarcerated. How do you look to address those as well?
The thing about having a new jail and an old attitude defeats the purpose in having a new jail.
I hear that.
The new jail was a wish and a dream, because you want to be the facility that people are in. You want them to be able to be healthy, to provide for their needs and provide services to them. Everybody wanted a new jail because the lack of air, the lack of space, the lack of conditions to be able to treat individuals, whether they were mental, or it was a mental health issue or a medical issue. A new jail is not going to solve the problem if we continue to look at the situation in the same old way, and we don't treat people as if they're human and that they have needs and a need for services that we need to provide. So we want the new jail is there. The new jail has better accommodations, but we don't want to make the jail a new jail to make it a home for anyone. We don't want you to be comfortable in your situation. We want you to be able to do those things that will make you productive when you are released. If you have to be incarcerated, as the system is now, we change the system, we change the thoughts of the system, then we can change the mindset of not just the individuals that are incarcerated, but we change the thought process of those individuals that run the system as well.
In closing, what are some of the things that you want to make an impression on as you become sheriff of the city of Richmond, and programs being implemented in the transition? Give an overview of how you see the sheriff being implemented underneath of your guidance.
What we want to do is make sure that, again, we want to provide tools and resources to individuals so that they can do better. But the main thing is we want to work on attitude and mindset, the attitude of individuals while they're there. We want to make sure that we can enhance the positiveness in attitudes. We want to get back to the root of why I am committing such crimes. There are different types of crimes. There are different type of reasons as to why people feel that they commit crimes. So we want to make sure that we provide resources. We want to make people healthier, not worse. We want to have a healthy mind, a healthy body. Individuals are going to be sick, and as I've said, and I think several of us have said, individuals that are sick don't have to die. Individuals that are sick need treatment. Those individuals that are on some type of substance or have a substance abuse problem, incarceration is not always the answer. Really, the answer is treatment. Individuals have to be treated in order to be healthy. Individuals have to be treated in order to be able to help to solve the problems that they have in order to make them better people. So we want to provide those resources, connect them with the proper places to be. You commit an act. That act happened as a result of something. So it may have been that I was mental, I had a substance abuse problem, or there was some type of anger management issue that I have, and that issue has to be fixed. So we have to work on that issue in order to help to fix what the problem is. So we want to provide those programs and services to those individuals that are incarcerated to ensure that they can be a healthy and productive citizens. They're building more jails and not more schools. And if we can solve the problems while individuals are younger and in school, and individuals can be trained. Young people want to learn. Young people want to do right. Young people want to be loved. They want somebody to be able to tell them that they have some type of hope. And that comes from what they see. And if they constantly see bad or corruption, or they see that the result of what's going to happen is I'm going to be incarcerated, I get more attention when I'm incarcerated. That's like any child. If I get more attention when I'm doing bad, then I do bad, because that's when I get attention. So we want to make sure that we can reach back into the communities as well, to ensure that we are making a more productive young person, to eliminate the bad or the ill will towards the system and towards the community as individuals get older. The economy is in a bad state, so we have to provide resources and tools to individuals to put them in the right mindset, as though we can overcome certain things and the things that they need to do or we need to do as a group collectively to ensure that we can have better people and that we can stop the incarceration and the violence, and we can stop those things that are going on within our society as a whole. It's just not the sheriff's office or not just the jail, it's the society as a whole. And until we get a clear picture or a better understanding of what we as a community need to be doing, we're going to keep facing the same types of problems.
When you said that, it made me think about the picture that I saw with C.T. Wood with all the clergy. So with that clergy support, how would you utilize them to help also that transition and job opportunities? Would you use them as a networking and that a pretense, or just for a photo op? I mean, come on now. It was a whole lot of them there, and you would think it would be some type of impact in that situation.
There were a whole lot of them there, but there were a whole lot of them that were not there. And we will need to work with the faith-based community and the non-profit organizations, but we need to work with those agencies and offices in order to ensure that individuals are growing, not just, as you say, as a photo op, but we need to make sure that services are being provided to individuals. Jails and penitentiaries, and the system has so many clergy and clergy affiliated individuals that come into the facility to provide services and communicate with individuals, but we want to make sure that they're not just there talking, that they're there helping the individuals to grow, spiritually, to grow as individuals, to grow as fathers and mothers, and as good stewards of the system.
Yeah, because I'm a member of Great Hope Baptist, and we work with Caritas, and so you have that various types of individuals there, and what we hear a lot from them is what you spoke of earlier, which is once they are out, that opportunity for work, shelter, and so it creates them that thought process of hey, I have no other choice. But Major Irving, I do appreciate it, and again, and then in closing thoughts, could you go ahead and conclude with those? But I thank you for coming on to this open mic.
I thank you for having me, and again, my whole platform has been working with the basic life, health, and safety of individuals, and we want to care about individuals, not just those individuals that are incarcerated, but those individuals in the community, because we all make up one big community. So we want to make sure that we can provide resources and tools for healthy minds and healthy bodies. We want to stop the overwhelming amount of deaths that are in the city. We want to stop the overwhelming amount of corruption. We want to make sure that we can have good budget plans, spend money the way it needs to be spent on the proper things that it need to be spent. We want to make sure that we're hiring the proper people, qualified individuals to work in the system. We want to make sure that those individuals care about people, that they are professional and they're respectful. We want to make sure that we can work together as a team with all the different agencies within the city so that we can connect everyone to the proper resources so that they can become better citizens. We just don't want to lock people up or have people incarcerated just because. We want to make sure that individuals can become better people.
Stay tuned. We have Brother Chris Dorsey coming up, and I want to thank you, and because I want to acknowledge this, because Brother Chris Dorsey did bring up some issues that had to be confirmed by you and Brother Lamont Kizzy, and so we do thank you as the WCLM family in bringing those issues out and making it viable to where we can now proceed to address these issues with some transparency. So again, I thank you, and stay tuned for Richmond is Talking.
Attention, a message from Sister Bella, spiritual reader and advisor. Sister Bella has helped thousands in all matters of life, love, marriage, and business, and now she's ready to help you today by calling 804-300-6919. That's 804-300-6919. Are you having difficulties in life? Are you depressed and confused and have no one to turn to? Come see Sister Bella today for a peace of mind.
So do you want to acknowledge supporting him and whatnot in case whatever?
Cases of anxiety and
okay, well, I'm coming back and let you, and you
one free question.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
804-300-6919. That's 804-300-6919.
Okay, that's good with me, because I want to give him about the same amount of time. So, so as long as you're willing to wait, it's good for me.
I have over 30 years of experience working at the Richmond Sheriff Office.
Okay.
I worked under 3 administrations: Sheriff A.J. Winston, Michelle B. Mitchell, and present Sheriff C.T. Woody. I know what it takes to make the Sheriff Office a beacon of light for the city of Richmond. Vote November the 5th for Lamont Kizzy as your next sheriff. Paid and authorized by Lamont Kizzy.
Hi, this is L. Shirley Harvey.
Okay.
The City Treasurer's position is an independent office set up to track and confirm the money we pay to the City of Richmond as taxes and fees. because the treasurer has been relegated to selling hunting and fishing licenses. We don't know how our city officials have spent our money. How did Richmond pay $10 million for the Redskins training camp when they couldn't afford to finance our schools? We must make a change. There are more than 50,000 people in Richmond who have lived in poverty for over 50 years. This is unacceptable. City residents should be able to buy tax-exempt city bonds in increments that we can afford so that we can increase our income. I am qualified as an accountant in government and in business. We can no longer accept politics as usual. Let's not make another mistake. It is time to make a change. Vote L. Shirley Harvey for treasurer. Paid for by L. Shirley Harvey.
Welcome back to Richmond is Talking. And as Sister Harvey said, there's a change in the paradigm here because, see, politicians are no longer politicians. We have folks that wants to be servants, that want to be hired by you. And I'm very impressed and thankful that Major Irving is willing to stay over, to stay and listen to Brother Chris's interview, and then they want to collaborate because what I'm hearing, and she can speak for herself. Major Irving?
Yes. We were talking during the break, and we've been talking all along, some individuals in the city. And it's very important that we as a group collectively work on the issues that are going on in the city. If it has to start with the sheriff's office, it has to start with the sheriff's office. But the city itself, we need to work to provide a better system within the city of Richmond. We need to make sure that our community is better capable of taking care of the individuals in the city. And as I've always said, we appreciate everybody being a part of the race, because if no one presents a challenge, then everything remains the same. We have to be willing to take those risks and push people to the point that they understand that we're not going to sit down and keep taking what has always been. Because if you continue to just sit around and believe and take whatever you've been given, then you might as well just sit down. You know, you have to stand up for what you believe in, and I believe in the city. I believe in the people in the city. I'm born and raised in the city, and we have to give the city hope. And if it takes all of us, and it is going to take all of us to make the city a better place, because I don't like it when the people talk bad about the city. You know, that's why people say, why do you want to leave Henrico and come to the city? I can stay in Henrico, but I love the city, and I want the people of the city to feel proud of where they live.
That is an excellent segue into Brother Chris Dorsey. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Major Irving, and thank you, Mr. Bradley. My name is Chris Dorsey. I'm running to be the next sheriff in the city of Richmond. I'm running because, as anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear knows, that we have a completely 100% corrupt government, and the Richmond Sheriff's Department under so-called Sheriff C.T. Woody is no exception. Our jail is a disgrace. It is unlawful. There have been FBI investigations. It violates the law. It's costing taxpayers millions of dollars. And the corruption doesn't even end there. It goes on to hiring policies. It goes on to intimidation of people who have grievances, who work there or have no choice of being there and are mistreated. It's basically a black hole, and when corruption occurs inside that jail, it never comes out, and people's lives are ruined, people's lives are ended, and it is immoral, it is ungodly, and we cannot call ourselves Christians or Muslims or any other religion, or we can't even call ourselves good human beings if we don't do something to stop this now. And the only way to stop this now is to go out and make a change. I have made pledges that my only interests are to serve the people and uphold the law and make sure people are not mistreated. And that includes the citizen on the street who is mistreated by a criminal, but it also includes someone who's smoking a joint out on the street corner and gets put in jail and gets beaten, raped, injected with disease, or excuse me, infected with disease, and then has to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for something that's not even an actual real crime. Same goes with driving on a suspended license. Same goes with not being able to pay a fee or a fine, like, you know, paying child support. This is a business. It's a big business. It's one of the biggest businesses that there is that the government funds. State tax dollars overwhelmingly go to lock people up instead of educating people. I think it should be the opposite. I'm much more in favor of building bigger schools and smaller jails. Now, I heard people saying things about building bigger schools and smaller jails, and certain people are actually advocating for the bigger jails because there's more money in it. And what I'm saying is we need to take the money out of the incarceration system. It is a business, and people are the chattel. People are the cattle. And that needs to stop because people are human beings, and I would never ever treat an animal like the people are routinely treated at the Richmond City Jail. It's not right.
And on that note, because you have laid out the issues, how would you fix those inhumane issues? How would you address them? You know, take a couple of them, but how would you address some of them that you spoke of to end that?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Bradley. The way I would address them and will address them is that there needs to be 100% transparency. For example, it is illegal, but not unlawful, it is illegal for people to videotape the court proceedings that wind people up in jail. And I can say, I watch court trials down at the John Marshall Court Building, and I watch court trials on Hall Street, and I see people who are dragged from a cell. I see a Commonwealth's attorney talking to a public defender and talking to the judge, and these people are sentenced to huge amounts of time in jail, and they don't even know what's going on. And the people, they don't have any idea either, because all of this is done in secret. All of this is done in secret, and the killings. So we can say, okay, well, people get put in jail, and it's done in secret, and that's fine. We need to have videotape in the courtroom. We need to have videotapes, and they need to be available to the public in the actual jail as well, because people are being put in strip cells and winding up dead.
Now, with that, who controls that? I mean, I'm trying to figure out, no, let me back up with this, because I'm not, what is the responsibility of the sheriff? Does the sheriff have that responsibility to be able to do that?
The sheriff is the top constitutional law enforcement officer in the city. The Constitution protects everyone's rights. The Virginia Constitution says all power is vested and therefore derived from the people. The United States Constitution says that in redundancy. Now, if it's never happened before, why don't we start doing this now? I say all power to the people. All power to the people. End corruption. It's very easily done. We could do it in days if there wasn't so much resistance.
So, and I'll move on. So, the sheriff will have the responsibility of law enforcement to incarcerate or not to incarcerate.
What I'm saying is the sheriff is elected by the people. The judges aren't elected by the people. The police chief is not elected by the people. The sheriff is elected by the people. The judge doesn't have the key to the jail. The police don't have the key to the jail. The sheriff has the key to the jail. The sheriff escorts the incarcerated individuals from the courtroom into the jail. And what I'm saying is all power is vested and derived from the people. I'm making an oath to the people, a solemn oath. You are in charge of me. You are in charge of me. And the sheriff controls the jail and the guns. And the current sheriff and the sheriffs all around the, every locality around this city and around the country, they don't make an oath to serve the people. I'm only interested in serving the people, upholding the Constitution, honoring the truth, and honoring God. We'll say it. We need to be more godly because, the God I serve, it doesn't allow these sort of things. He doesn't allow these sort of things to happen and just have, people say, well, there's some corruption and it's too bad for these people. I'm commanded to stop these things. And I'm going to do everything I can to stop it. And then when I think I can't do any more, I'm going to do more on top of that. And all I have to do is serve the people. It's very simple. I have lots of ideas. And I have lots of actions that I've taken over the year to pull the veil off of all of this corruption. All this corruption, it's been talked about for years. I know because people have told me, and then I've said it on these very airwaves.
With the new jail, and you've already addressed this part, with those that are mentally disturbed, how would you address those? Because there's, like Major Irving was stating, and even C.T. Wood in reference to whether they should be in jail or not. How would you address that type of situation?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. What I'm saying is, I would say that mental illness is somewhat of a relative term. Now, I'm saying that I know people who have been in that jail, who have been marked as mentally ill, but that's not really a crime. A crime is a very specific act. One has to harm an individual or steal property, and there are a couple other things that can be an actual crime, but being someone who's got different ideas or has some sort of birth defect or mental retardation, I think that's something that hasn't really been addressed, and that is very sad, and kind of gets back to the people who are shuffled through that jail and they don't even really know what's going on. That there are many more people in there that are nonviolent, people, nonviolent human beings, nonviolent American citizens that are in that jail than, I would say, people who are mentally ill and, kind of violently psychopathic. I'm saying that there are a lot of people that, and I'll actually go further. I will say most and definitely more than 50% of the people in that jail need to be released. And if we are going to uphold the law, and I say we must uphold the law, that jail must be shut down immediately. This is another thing I haven't heard during this campaign. The Richmond Juvenile Detention Center, that was shut down because of human rights violations. As far as we know, there have been, not many deaths, or much less deaths than happened at the jail. So under the law, since one facility was shut down, definitely the other facility, and I'm talking about the Richmond City Jail, under the law, because it violates Amendment 8, and it violates many other parts of the law, must be shut down. We need to shut this down because not only are people being held there that have committed crimes in the city of Richmond, who are Richmond citizens, but that's used as a warehouse space because there's big money in warehousing people from out of town. So why don't we as citizens of the city of Richmond say, hey, we're not going to be known as having the biggest torture chamber jail in the history of the United States. We're actually going to shut this jail down, and we're going to have a court system where we go through and we take our individuals who live in the city of Richmond and we have a long, hard thought about who belongs locked up in a cage and who does not belong locked up in a cage. And we're actually not going to lock anybody up in a cage, but we will separate the real criminals from society. People who know me, They know I don't take any nonsense. They know if they're with me, that I've got their back. They know with me, if somebody messes with them, that's a bad move. And if somebody messes with the people of the city of Richmond, and all the crooks from C.T. Woody to Dwight Jones to Jeff Lacker at the Federal Reserve Bank to Tom Farrell at Dominion Power, they're messing with my people. And that's not a good move for them.
That's right.
So all I have to say is you have a simple choice. If you want to keep getting abused, if you want to keep being, paying these outrageous fees, and if you don't pay them, you wind up in the clink, keep going along the same way. I'm not going down like that. My folks aren't going down like that. And we're going to do something to stop it. Enough is enough.
What about the opportunities for those that are applying or have job restoration, or those that are in that transition coming out, as I had engaged Major Irving? What type or what outreach would you have for job opportunities and mentorship so that they can have that in place to help them develop?
Well, like with everything else that we will do at this jail, and we will do at the Sheriff's Department, it's going to be run by the citizens. I'm told by numerous people that they call and volunteer, say they want to give their time down at the jail, and that they're turned away. There's even cronyism and favoritism to the faith groups and the civic organizations that people will allow in the jail. Again, the problem with that and the reason for that is it's all based on money. It's a system. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And what I'm saying is if somebody is a moral individual who has the capacity to do a job and to do it right and take seriously their oath to uphold the Constitution and serve their people, they will have a job at the Richmond jail. Even if it's people who just got out of the Richmond jail or who were just incarcerated. I talk to these people on the street every day. Every day. If these are such dangerous criminals, the people who are locked up in a strip cell for 57 days, the individual I know that happened to last, I saw him on Broad Street on Friday night. My camera crew, who's with me now, we had a long conversation with him. I see these people all the time. These aren't dangerous people. I'm not afraid of these people. This is you, me, your brother, your sister, your mother. I mean, and we don't really even get into the conditions that the women have to go through. I mean, we have on videotape people attesting to what they've seen down at that jail. Forced abortions. Mm-hmm. Not just one, many forced abortions. And then after that happens, they won't even let the mother go to the funeral for the child. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just
now,
the sickest.
When you said forced abortion, is that they're coming in impregnated, or
they're coming in impregnated? I'm not talking about the sheriff's deputies who are raping the women in the jail. That happens too, but I'm not addressing that particular thing. But thank you for bringing that up.
You're saying that the jail is
complications during pregnancies resulting in deaths of children and no medical services, which have we've already established. They can, even the folks like the Richmond Times.
That's what I was getting to, and I apologize because I laughed because I wanted the word right, but you did answer by stating that they was pregnant. They did go to the infirmary in order to get addressed, but complications arose, and so that's what I'm hearing.
I'm saying.
So then the question for me to you would be: would you make sure that the necessary medical help that's there?
Of course.
Okay.
And that needs to be public too. That needs to be public. We need to protect the privacy of individuals. However, when people are not getting their medical treatment, when they're a diabetic and the sheriff's deputies are withholding medication, or when somebody is pregnant and they are bleeding out and the sheriff's deputies watch that happen, I'm saying that needs to be publicized, and that these things are crimes. Here's another thing I'd like to say. We cannot have a sheriff who is a criminal. Now, the things that C.T. Woody does, he should drop out of the race and he should resign his office, because what he should prepare for is going to jail for a long, long time.
Wait a minute, let me stop you right now. I'm messing with you though. What I heard on Jack Rafferty's show was that his works speak for themselves.
It does. It
and
certainly does.
The only issue that he proclaimed is nepotism, and that is something that he don't have to follow because it's not in our Constitution. So he's told City Council that he would, but that's not something he have to. So, Brother Chris, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about violations of the United States Constitution which have resulted in death. I'm talking about, here, I'm going to say a word, and the word I'm going to say is treason, because the office that we're running for is called constitutional office. So that means that these people swear an oath to uphold the U.S. and Virginia Constitutions. In the case of Levante Lewis, a 19-year-old who was picked up on New Year's Eve for a drunken public, who was brutally beaten nearly to death by 3 sheriff's deputies. In order to cover that up, I have a release agreement. I put it up online. A lot of people have seen it. It was on the front page of the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Tony Pham, who's legal counsel, he's the head lawyer for C.T. Woody, and C.T. Woody created a document, not only where they induced and forced a citizen of the United States and the state of Virginia to sign away their constitutional rights, these treasonous joker criminals, C.T. Woody and Tony Pham, they wrote also in this document that they're not responsible under the United States and Virginia Constitutions. And I've confronted both of them. I must say, I am the only candidate who has confronted C.T. Woody on his crimes. And that's what they are. You know, just because somebody wears a costume that looks like a military dictator from South America doesn't mean that they know what the law is. It actually means the exact opposite. And I will say that every time C.T. Woody, finds out that I'm within a mile radius of him, his knees shake and he runs in the other direction. Now, what is the sheriff known for? If there's some tough criminal somewhere, if there's some tough guy that is coming into town and stirring up the trouble, who goes out to meet him? The sheriff goes out to meet him. The sheriff is afraid to even face his own opponents. How can he be sheriff of the city of Richmond if he won't even face his own opponents?
Well, what I heard on the mainstream media, because see, WCLM 1450 AM radio is not mainstream. But when I heard y'all over on Jack Rafferty's show, after y'all had already been over here at WCLM addressing these same issues, what I heard from that was that because the main media has not picked up on it, what you're saying, what his opponents are saying, are lies. Now, who am I to believe? Y'all or the mainstream media?
Well, one thing I will say is, when I talk, it is fact. When I say I'm conjecturing about something or I think something may be true, then it might be true, it probably is true. But when I'm stating facts, that's because I have verified that these are facts. Now, I must say that the so-called mainstream media, which is actually corporately owned media, they have a puppet in C.T. Woody. C.T. Woody is on their string. He's part of the criminal gang that runs this city. And I will say, C.T. Woody won't face me, not because, he thinks that, he couldn't lie and slough me off. It's because when I make a statement, and when I come up near C.T. Woody, I can not only just make these statements, but I can provide facts. These are documents. They can't be hidden. They were written up by C.T. Woody. There were actions and eyewitnesses. The case of Mr. Robinson, who was, killed in the Richmond City Jail. His family was awarded $2.4 million. Grant Sleeper, who was killed in the Richmond City Jail. His family was awarded probably about $10 million. Of course, we got to get into this. So-called Judge Henry Hudson, so-called federal Judge Henry Hudson, he sealed all the documents regarding the Grant Sleeper case to cover this stuff up. The Richmond Times-Dispatch, they cover this stuff up. Style Magazine, they cover it all up because they're all in on it. They don't want people to know that the government's 100% corrupt and that the sheriff is killing people at the jail in violation of the law. But that's why I'm telling you these things. Because I actually care about what goes on in the city, and I don't like it when I see crooked things that result in people's death, because it could happen to me, and it could happen to my friends, and it could happen to my loved ones, and I hate it when it just happens to regular, average people. It makes me sick. I'm not going to tolerate it anymore, and there's a lot of other people with me.
Richmond is talking, and we'll be right back.
And that day
We
is
go back
November
these last
30th at 5
15
o'clock
minutes,
p.m.
and y'all
as the
can
Glorious
just
Church of God in
carry on
Christ,
the
4806
however y'all want to go, and
present in concert.
and,
Special guest, the original Supreme Angels. Doors open at 4 o'clock, showtime 5 o'clock. Tickets $13 in advance, $15 at the door. Children ages 6 to 12, $6 at the door only. Also in concert, Flossie Boyd Johnson, Totally Committed, Kenny Davis and the Melody Airs, the Christian Airs, the Christian Travelers, and a surprise guest from Linden, North Carolina. For ticket info, please contact Brother Wesley Williams at 804-938-3506 or Brother Lamont Whitehead at 804-839-9915. Tickets available from Barkey's Record Shop. That's Saturday, November 30th at 5 o'clock p.m. The Glorious Church of God in Christ, 4806 Old Midlothian Turnpike. The original Supreme Angels, Flossie Boyd Johnson, Totally Committed, Kenny Davis and the Melody Airs, the Christian Airs, the Christian Travelers, and a surprise guest. Don't you dare miss it.
WCLM 1450 AM, Highland Springs, Richmond.
welcome back to Richmond is Talking. And we've had a good dialogue here today. We've had two candidates for the City of Richmond Sheriff's Office here, Major Irving and Brother Chris Dorsey. And they've had a good dialogue in trying to tell you how they will run the City Sheriff's Office if you are to hire them. They both told you the issues that they see before them. They both told you how they're looking to address those issues. And I want to open it up for them so that they can have a dialogue and then give a last 5 minutes, again, reaching out to look for you to hire them as the next sheriff for the City of Richmond. Major Irving?
Yes, sir. Thank you. As both Mr. Dorsey and I have been saying, it's time for a change at the city jail. It's a time for a change in the city of Richmond. The way that we make that change is we ensure that the individuals that are incarcerated have basic life, health, and safety needs. We need to make sure that individuals that do not need to be incarcerated are not incarcerated. We need to make sure that individuals are given the proper medical treatment, the proper mental health services. We want to make sure that people are taken care of, and it's important. The system has to be fixed. The system has to change. We have to make sure that the leadership at the sheriff's office dwindles down into professionalism and respect for the individuals that are working at the sheriff's office. It's going to take a team of people to make sure that this system gets right. We have to make sure that from inside of the jail to outside of the jail that people are taken care of. We want to save lives. We don't want to kill people. We don't want people's lives to be destroyed, whether it's through death or whether it's through the reputation. We want to make sure that individuals are treated the best possible way that they can be treated. We want to make sure that individuals grow. We want to make sure that individuals develop. We want to make sure that the city of Richmond is something that you, as the citizens of this community, are proud to say that you are a citizen of the city of Richmond. It's time for a change. It's time for the corruption to end. It's time for us to look towards each other and look at each other and hold each other accountable and responsible. There's a need for a transparent type of leadership. There's a need for management within the city of Richmond to work together to ensure that the citizens of this city are taken care of properly. We have to do that as a group. We can't continue to run government as individuals. We have to run this system as a group, as a team that can make sure that individuals are taken care of, their needs are taken care of, and that we can provide for what those needs are. We have to ensure that people are healthy. We have to make sure that people are cleansed of whatever's going on within them. We have to make sure that we work with the nonprofits, the local community leaders. We have to make sure that we work with the faith-based organizations. We have to make sure that we work with the individuals that can help us, because they've been in some of these situations. If we can connect individuals that are incarcerated to individuals that have been in the system and that they know that you can be a better person. There are individuals right now that have been in jails and have been in penitentiaries that have allowed that to make them better people, because they were in the right type of system. They have jobs, they have businesses of their own. We can use those individuals to help other people to know that there is hope and there is a way that you can become a better person just because you make a mistake, and all of us do. So don't get it twisted that you cannot make a mistake. We don't want to incarcerate you just because you make a simple mistake. There are some individuals that need to be incarcerated, but everyone does not need to be incarcerated. And when you are incarcerated, you need to be treated the proper way. You need to be treated as a human being. You are a relative of someone. You're someone's parent. You're someone's grandparent. So you need to be treated appropriately. We want to make sure that we care for you. We provide for your needs. We provide the resources that you need so that when you are released from the system, that you can be the best possible person that you possibly can be. We want to touch people at the point of their growth. We want to help people to grow. Mistakes are not your end. Mistake can be a footstool to your new beginning. And we want to build that type of foundation. We don't want people to be treated disrespectfully. We don't want people to be beat up just because you speak in a tone of how you can take care of yourself. There are rules and regulations. There are things that have to be set, because the main rule and regulation is that we respect each other as a people. And we start there. We can correct some of the other attitudes and behaviors that individuals have. But we have to look to the gut of what that attitude and behavior is so that we can make better people. We need to stop the things that are going on at the city jail that should not be. And I applaud my opponents for bringing all those issues up. We have to bring all those issues up. If all of us are talking about them, it means that they are true. The problem that we've had is we're not there to feel them ourselves. We have plenty of stories. We have plenty of facts. But as you say, who else is listening? Who else is bringing these things up? It's time for these things to be revealed. It's time for us to make this community. It's time for us to do right by this community and be right by the citizens of Richmond. It's time to treat people as we need to treat them. It's time for us to provide the basic life, health, and safety needs that we have to provide for individuals to make them better people.
Well, I thank you, Major Irving, and I want to thank you for acknowledging Brother Dorsey, because I wanted to also say that regardless of what happened, you have made a difference in the city in your running for sheriff office. You brought issues to the forefront. You engaged those candidates that was running to have this dialogue. And this is what the people needed, as Major Irving is saying. We need the transparency. We need the togetherness. And I'm hoping that y'all continue to do what you're saying, working together for the future. But Brother Chris, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Major Irving. Thank you, Mr. Bradley. Well, I mean, there's a lot to say. It's been a long campaign. We've been running for years for this office, and what I'll say in closing, because I think this will probably be the last media appearance that we have before the election, is we've got to do something. We can't sit back and do nothing. We need to stand up and be counted. That means every single one of you. We're all talking to you right now. Every individual. Call all of your relatives. Call all of your friends and say, we need to go out and we need to vote. And I'm asking you to vote for yourselves and vote for me. Because all I'm going to do when I get in there is serve the people and uphold the Constitution. And the Constitution says, you're the boss. All power is vested and derived from the people. So my job will be easy. All I have to do is listen to my bosses and read the law and interpret the law and react and act in a way that I know is right, because I know right from wrong. I know lawful from unlawful. I know moral from immoral. And the current sheriff, and I don't even like to call him that, because if you look up the definition of the word sheriff, he doesn't meet any of the requirements of the definition of a word. Because instead of upholding the law, he's violating the law. And he's violating the law in the most supreme ways. And what I'm saying is, he needs to resign. The FBI needs to reinstate their investigation and stop covering up these crimes. I'm talking to you, Cameron Fricks of the FBI. You know about this stuff. I'm calling you out. Mike Morhart. We've had conversations about this before he left his position as a special agent in charge of the Richmond FBI. But it's not just those two. It's all of their organizations. I'm calling you out, William Smith of the Special Events Unit of the Richmond Police Department. I'm calling you out, Victoria Benjamin of, General Counsel for the Richmond Police Department. I'm calling you out, Ray Tarasovic. You and I have had personal conversations about these things, and you can't deny it. Here's why they can't deny it, Mr. Bradley. I'd like to say this. Because it's up on video camera for everyone to see. It's videoed. I can't make up video. I'm not Steven Spielberg, although I've worked for him. I'm not that person. I'm not that rich. I'm not that immoral as Steven Spielberg. But what I'm saying is that the evidence is clear. No one was talking about this who was getting any sort of traction. I know these problems inside and out, and I know how to solve them. And all those people who I'm calling out, you better do something, because you swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. And now, instead of doing that, you can be identified, and there can be verifiable facts that you're not only not upholding your oath to uphold the Constitution, you're an enemy of the United States, and you're an enemy of the people.
That's right.
And you torture people, and you think it's cool, and you get paid a lot of money to do it. Not me, Jack. No, sir. I'm not going to go down that path. All people have to do is vote for Christopher Leon Dorsey and just see what happens. See how your life gets better. Hey, if you got fired down at that jail because you started, exposing the crimes that are going on down there, or fired from the courthouse, guess what? We're going to hire you back, and we're going to give you raises, and we're going to put you in charge, because you have shown that you do take your oath to uphold the Constitution seriously. You have shown that you don't like people getting jacked around and jerked around. You've shown that you're a real, honest human being who deserves to be treated with respect, because you treat other people with respect. That's who's going to run our jail. If you need a job in the city of Richmond, give us a call. Give us a call when we get in. And if you show yourself to be well-respected in a community, and a straight shooter and an honest person, you'll get a fair day's wage. And I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to cut the sheriff's salary. And even if it's mandated by law, I'll allow the people to decide exactly where the excess money goes, because I'm only going to take $33,300. And if you do the math, $150,000 minus $33,300, that's a lot of loot left over.
Well, Mr. Dorsey, that is excellent in what you're going to do in reference to helping everybody. We do have Sister Shirley Harvey on the line, and she wasn't able to get in because she was tied up. But I want to give her an opportunity to be able to come across the air too.
Yes,
but
sir.
I want to thank you and Major Irving for coming and allowing us to be able to broadcast what I think is a great and historical debate in reference to the sheriff and awareness. So I want to try to give Sister Shirley Harvey.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Hey, Shirley.
Hey, everybody.
All right, we got about 3 minutes, and I want you to go ahead and close us out and let them know why you want to be the treasurer.
You know me, I like to try to do things right, and I like to make sure that the people in the city of Richmond get what they deserve, and you're not deserving what you're getting. And if we keep making the same mistakes, voting for the same people and put them in office, then you're going to have the same problem. I promise you, when I'm treasurer, you're going to know what happens with our money, and we're going to make sure that the people in Richmond get what they deserve. I cannot allow anyone in the city of Richmond who has been mistreated and misused, and their money also being mistreated and misused, to continue on this way. So I'm asking everybody to vote for me tomorrow. because you will see a change in the city of Richmond. I promise you. Thank you, world.
Thank you for taking the time to call in on your busy schedule, trying to get everybody to go out and vote for you as the next treasurer for the city of Richmond. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and I want to thank everybody that was able to come and to give the listeners another opportunity to hear how and why you feel you wanted to be hired and how you're going to serve them. And I hope you have been empowered by tuning in to Richmond is Talking. And you heard a lot of talk. And we have to say a lot of it started from this guy called Chris Dorsey.
A message from Sister Bella, spiritual reader and advisor.
Thank you.
Sister Bella has helped thousands in all matters of life, love, marriage, and business. And now she's ready to help you today by calling 804-300-6919. That's 804-300.